that the theme of this conference, leading with integrity, is very well chosen. Integrity is beyond definition. In fact, I see integrity as life. It is life and it is life's worth. As Mary Ann Evans, an English novelist that quite a number of us are familiar with, says that our deeds determine us as much as we determine our deeds. Integrity, therefore, is a value we cultivate, which in turn becomes an essence that defines who we are. Integrity is the quality of being honest, having strong moral principles. It is about doing what is right, even when no one is watching. Leading, therefore, with integrity means that one operates with transparency and accountability for the decisions that you take. It means that you put the greater good ahead of self-interest. Integrity-driven leadership inspires trust, respect, and loyalty among the led. Leaders who lead with integrity leave enduring legacies. People flow and follow with them. Not because they have to, but because they desire to. Developing and sustaining integrity-driven leadership starts with self-awareness and commitment to a personal moral code. Integrity is a personal resolve and comes from within. It is modeling the behavior you want to see in others. I decided to prepare a paper that I'm going to oblige the convener. But again, talking about integrity is not really standing here to read or to preach. We do this every time. It's a matter of demonstrating what you stand for. That's integrity. We can talk about all the principles. I have my paper prepared, but I think it's important to share a few things with you in a few minutes before I go back to where I came from. Upon my appointment, and I look at myself, of course, being part of the system as chief of staff and as secretary to the commission, and I said, look, the major problems or the great albatross we have in our system is what we are talking about now. The issue of integrity. Because if you don't have integrity, there's no way you will not be corrupt. Corruption is a seed of integrity. I mean, it's a seed of lack of integrity. So I asked myself, what am I going to do different from the past 4 chairmen? And the first thing I did, that no other chairman of EFCC has ever done, was to declare my assets. That's going to be the first test. Nobody asked me to do it. Of course, it's a requirement of the law, but I could have done it quietly. And I came out publicly, and I did. And I challenged every staff, every of my operative. You have to do so. Because he who is to come to equity, your hands must be clean. And every time I address my staff, and I keep telling them, I say, I challenge anyone, and I say it publicly. Throughout my private and public life, if I've ever obtained 1 dime illegitimately as process of corruption from anyone, and you know what it means when you serve as a chief of staff in an organization like that, you are like a shadow chairman. For years I did it. I was the secretary appointed by the president, confirmed by the National Assembly. In the midst of that, there was a storm. And I'm going to share this with you and probably step down from the podium. I was doing my work diligently. Of course, as a chairman, as secretary then, I was in charge of the general administration, managing staff strength of close to 5,000. I was the one administering all the forfeited assets from east to west, north to south. Managing them, reporting to the National Assembly and the presidency as to how we manage the assets forfeited to government. There was someone who was supposed to be a cabinet member, who was a cabinet member as it were, but I was not meant to report to the cabinet member. And a time came and said, look, bring this and bring that. I said, sir, no, I will not do that. The particular provision of my law, of the Establishment Act of this organization, says this is how this has to be done. The second time he sent for me, and I resisted. And he looked me in the eye. He said, what do you mean? And he identified himself. I said, I know you, sir. You don't have to identify yourself to me again. But I'm saying this is my stand, and this is what the law says. And so I left. And somebody called me afterwards and said, look, sir, you better come back and beg this man, or else your days are numbered. I smiled. I knew where I was coming from. And I know my life and my destiny is not going to end where I am. The journey is still far. If you understand where God is taking us to, some of the things we do that will make us compromise, we will run away from it. So 3 weeks after, a panel was set up. Of course, some of us who followed what happened in 2020 in the EFCC, you understand what I'm talking about. My name was all over the place, maligned left, right, and center. Esteemed guest, I was under investigation for 2.5 years. Suspended for doing nothing. At the end of the day, I was given a clean bill. There is nothing they didn't do. There is nowhere they didn't search. They don't believe, no, but they couldn't believe that there is someone in this country who will hold such a position as chief of staff in the EFCC and secretary. Number two, that you manage the entire asset. At some point, we have asset over 500 real estate that I manage, that they will not trace something for you. At some point, I wanted to auction. We shortlisted 11 auctioneers. The members of the auction committee say, oh God, look, you have not brought a candidate. A candidate to do what? And incidentally, my in-law was an auctioneer. Not until 2 years ago that we had to reconcile. Because, for the action that I took, not allowing him, not registering him as part of the auctioneers, led to a lot of things, I used 11 auctioneers. Not one did I introduce. Not one. Now, assuming I introduced one, or assuming I sold property to my family members, because I never believe, as someone works in that environment, you never believe a day will come that you also will be subject to investigation. But I always knew that. So if you are here, you are a public officer, you are holding the position of trust, know is that one day you will be called upon to account for your deeds. If it's not here on earth, it will be beyond. Let's always know that. The guy that sat to interrogate me happens to be somebody I recruited into the organization myself. So his hand was shaking. When he was taking me, I said, look, relax, do your work. And the long and short of the story is that after that, I was given a clean bid, asked to go back, but I refused to go back as a secretary. I faced my private practice. God blessed me. And today, I'm back as the chairman of the same organization where I was subjected to ridicule. This is my story of integrity. I'm not sure there's anything I need to read anymore to add to what I've shared with you. It's a matter of time. Make sure your hands are clean in whatever you do. I recognize that there are so many pastors here, senior pastors, our daddies and mommies, captains of industries. In the course of my working in the anti-corruption environment, I've had cause to convict pastors. It's not a palatable story, but I need to tell you that. I've had cause to convict imams, religious leaders. My zonal director in Lagos is here with me. Please stand up for recognition. Mike Wetkas, when I was chief of staff, he was working with me directly. He was the one that handled the extractive industry. You have had cause to convict pastors, imams, Shango worshippers, babalawos, all kinds of so-called religious leaders, all kinds of. So for the mere fact that somebody says he's a pastor, or he's a Christian, or he's a Muslim, or he's an imam, does not build any insulation around you that you will not be corrupt. I'm so sad that one of the pastors we also convicted is even a pastor in my own denomination. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It might not be a good story to tell, but that is the reality. How many of us can sincerely ask ourselves this question, that everything I have I can defend? As a pastor, as a public officer, as a leader of opinion, as captains of industry, that everything I own today, I can legitimately defend them. That's the beginning of the test of integrity. We can stand here and speak grammar from morning till evening. Doesn't mean we are clean. Just this yesterday, I had cause to arraign a former minister of power. Doctor was talking about power. Mambila, you will remember. For 33.something billion. And these are people that occupy front positions in religious centers. When I was being investigated, the only thing they now saw, they saw so many accounts that I was signatory to. They said they've caught him. So by the time they investigated, they discovered that it was Redeemed Church account. I said, the cost that Baba Deboye will put on you if you touch his church money. Yes, I want to be clean. And I want to be pure. That's the only thing that can help you. Upon my assumption of force, people were saying, sir, we are praying for you. I said, don't pray for me, pray for yourself, and pray for Nigeria. I said, why are you praying for me? He said, we just look at how your predecessors came and left, blah, blah, blah. I said, they were the one that knew what they did, why they came like that and left like that. My story is going to be different from that. And I said publicly, I challenge anyone that has ever given one dime or have taken a bottle of Coke as a suspect in your house. That's what I mean by integrity. That's the difference between our country and countries where things work. People don't gather in church or in mosque to pray 5 times a day, 10 times a day. They don't even know Jesus Christ is. They don't even know who Muhammad is. But they do the right thing. They follow the law. They obey the rules. They comply. Let's check ourselves. Are we really God-fearing people? Do we understand what it means to be a Christian or a Muslim? Are we not just being religious? Those of us who are at the forefront of this battle, when we make 1 or 2 moves, the same people who are supposed to support you will begin to throw banters on social media. Look, is it not a shame? Yes, we are not saying we are perfect, but when we see something that's going towards the line of doing the right thing, are we not supposed to support it as people who are God-fearing? In a particular state, we carry out an operation. We arrested 227 people. As I'm talking to you, 113 were indicted. I've already filed charge against over 80. In a country, in my short stay in the office, I've had cause to arraign 2 ex-governors for multiple billions of fraud. I've had cause to arraign ministers. I've cause to arraign several. I've cause to recommend certain people should be suspended from office. Some of you must have read in the pages of this about tens of billions that I've recovered in 8 months. Tens of billions. I don't want to mention it directly here. I'm not completely proud of that. Because I look inwards. And by virtue of my foray into that environment, I know for you to have recovered even 1 billion, at least 10 billion must have been stolen. Is it not a shame that some of us will come out and carry placards when we are saying somebody who has held office for 8 years, come and account for what you did? It's not a shame. And people, not until we realize and we look inwards that we are the cause of our own problems in Nigeria, there will be no solution. That's why I'm particularly delighted about this conference. I had to put everything I was doing in Abuja aside to be here this morning to identify with this cause. It's important for us to talk to ourselves. Now, made mistake in the time past. Now going forward, how do we rescue this country? How do we at least give our people a taste of good governance for once in their lifetime? And I was addressing the Federal Executive Council. I told them, I said, look, if we can do 50% of our capital budget execution this year, Nigeria will be fine. Trust me, sirs and masters, Nigeria will be fine. If you look at the researches we did, there is no year we have done up to 20%. And money releases are made, money will go. And I look at it, I said, look, if I should continue like this, how are we going to end? We keep chasing, stolen fund every time, investigate, prosecute. Whether they convict or they don't convict, we recover. You are telling me somebody did not steal money, you are releasing him on technical ground. When I recover over 200 billion, and I said, okay, don't convict. Let me just keep recovering the money. So we kept doing that, and I called my management. I said, look, team, I said, what are we going to do next? So we agreed. Now we are going to the area of prevention. Because we have discovered the ingenuity that actually some of these things we are doing don't really deter people, particularly Nigerians. And so we are just established what I call the Directorate of Fraud Risk Assessment and Control. A whole directorate in the EFCC now. We established about 3 months ago. We are going into the MDAs. We have over 700 of them. So we are going to go into their process for award of contract and procurement activities. And so we are examining that. The past 5 years, how many contracts have you awarded? What process did you follow? Where are the evidence of execution of these projects? And so we want to see one after the other. We want to see it. But the question is, the challenge we are having, and the question is, I have over 700 ministries, departments, and agencies to deal with. And I have less than 4,700 staff strength. And out of that staff strength, less than 40% are investigators. Less than 25% are prosecutors. In addition to over 700 MDAs, I have 36 states in the Federation. In addition to that, I have 774 local governments. And now they said they should be releasing money to the local government directly. And those are the challenges. But again, the issue is, if I am not there as an investigator or a prosecutor, you are there as a responsible Nigerian. So that when you see something, you say something. It's a collective responsibility, people of God. No single person can do this work. No single agency can do this work. How much will EFCC do? How much will ICPC do? And I want to plead with those who are religious leaders. Let us use our podium, not only to preach, but to demonstrate. Just this last week, I've had cause to recover how many millions from a religious organization. They appointed you a pastor, you use the opportunity to. That's when you become a big man. We don't even know what you are doing to earn a living, legitimately on your own. You live on the people money, on the ministry, on the church, on the mosque. You can't even explain your wealth, the source of your wealth. If you are not accountable as a religious person, And you expect a public officer to be accountable. People of God, you want to hear the truth? You want to hear the truth? Some religious organizations are more corrupt than public offices. I have evidence, and I have evidence towards that. Empirical evidence. It may not be expedient for me to say all that here, but let us go home with that. You look at the speckle in somebody's eyes. Meanwhile, in your own eyes, there is a log. We preach this thing on the altar, but under our nose, the same thing happens. And sometimes we try to cover up. It's our own. Let us deal with it in-house. But when it is public officer, we go, all of us, we start throwing banters. Are we doing this country, are we doing ourselves a good? No, we are not. You know why I can talk like this? Because I'm an insider too. And I also belong to the other side. And you know it's only a stupid person that will also condemn his own constituency. But again, the truth must be told. That's part of integrity. So finally, I want to thank you, sir, for this effort you are putting. At least you are doing your bit to ensure things are right, done right in Nigeria. Continue to do it in the face of challenges. And I want to encourage all of us, our elders in the house, don't give up on Nigeria, sir. Don't give up on we younger ones. We try as much as possible to do what is right. That is important is we ask ourselves questions. Every day you wake up, am I contributing to the woes of this country, or am I contributing to the development of the country by virtue of what you do? We are very fast at pointing accusing fingers. But when you look at what you discover that you yourself, you may be worse. On our part, we will do the little we can, given the confine of the provisions of the Lord within which we are allowed to operate. Most of the work is in the hand of every one of us as Nigerians. You are put in a position of trust. Do you run that organization the way it ought to be run? Right now, we are looking into the activities of some of our regulatory agencies, forest malpractices. And we discovered that private sector is more culpable than even the public sector we are talking about. Banks, financial industries. So now I just discovered that I'm just trying to, now I'm going to arraign over 60 finance houses that operated pyramid scheme. Claims Nigerians exploited them on their hard-earned money without any license, collected billions and ran away. And such people think they will have peace. They will never have peace. They can only run. They cannot hide. It's a matter of time. Corruption does not pay. The only thing that can help you in life when your hands are clean and your heart is pure. So on this note, I want to thank you very much for the privilege you have given me to speak. God bless you.